It's not surprising to see top NBA superstars put up some ridiculous stat lines. We've seen legends like Michael Jordan and Kobe drop 50 points in a game multiple times. Meanwhile, guys like Giannis and Luka Jokic have also had a 30-point, 15-rebound, and 15-assist game. And then there's players like Steph Curry, who also had multiple games of scoring at least 25 points even without attempting a single free throw. However, in the history of the NBA, no one has ever accomplished all of those things in the same season, having a 50-point game, having a 30, 15, and 15 game, and scoring at least 25 points in a game without a single free throw. That is until Nikola Jokic just did all of those the past few weeks. To me, this almost feels like impossible. The notion that at this stage of his career, after winning 3 MVP awards, after 7 consecutive All-NBA selections, and after winning an NBA title, we might actually be seeing the best version of Nikola Jokic there's ever been. Right now, Jokic is looking like Shaq when he's down low, he's also looking like Magic when he runs the point, and even almost like Kevin Durant as a shooter. After 15 games this season, Jokic is currently averaging a 29-point, 13-rebound, and 11-assist triple-double. You can even argue that the Joker might be the best scorer, passer, and rebounder in basketball all at once, and that he actually might have been that over the past 5 years or so, but somehow is still raising the bar in terms of production and efficiency this season. So in this video, let's talk about how a 30-year-old Nikola Jokic might quietly be making his way into the NBA GOAT conversation. Let's get to it. First off, Nikola Jokic is currently averaging 29 points per game, which is the 7th best mark in the entire league. But the crazy thing is, Jokic is scoring that much despite taking less than 17 shot attempts per game this season. And for context, the only player in NBA history to average at least 25 points while taking less than 18 shots per game has been Charles Barkley in 1988. But the difference is, that season, Chuck actually took 12 free throw attempts per game. Meanwhile, Jokic is only attempting 6.5 free throws a night this year. Basically, in the early goings of the season, Jokic is scoring out of straight-up buckets, and also at a clip that the league has never even come close to seeing. Jokic is currently converting a ridiculous 73.3% of all his two-point shot attempts, while also putting up a crazy efficient 73.6 true shooting percentage. Well, sure, it's all based on a small sample size to start the year, but still, that type of hyper-efficiency has always been reserved historically for guys who basically only attempt dunks or layups. In fact, the only players in history to convert more than 73% of their shots inside the arc in a single season were Mitchell Robinson in 2022, DeAndre Jordan in 2021, and Jackson Hayes in 2024. But the catch is, all those guys did that while attempting fewer than 5 shots inside the arc per game. Meanwhile, Jokic is currently attempting more than 12 two-point shots per game, and is also taking those two-pointers at a significantly further average distance. Well, just look at Jokic's shot range breakdown and you'll see that the percentages are just straight up mind-boggling. This season, Jokic has converted 79.5% of his shot attempts from within 3 feet of the basket. He's also shot 67% from within 4 to 9 feet, and then even from the mid-range, which is considered the most analytically unfriendly spot on the court, Jokic has also converted 13 out of his 17 shot attempts. Plus, come to think of it, Jokic is playing against game plans geared specifically towards stopping him, and yet he's still torching all of those defenses and putting up this kind of elite efficiency. First off, this is possible because Jokic has just developed a certain kind of shooting touch that makes him so elite of a scorer from everywhere on the floor. Inside the arc, his touch allows him to easily score on those half hooks from the post, out of floaters and runners, and out of his signature mid-range turnaround jumpers in a way that's unlike anything we've seen in basketball, especially for a guy who's actually 7 feet tall. Right here, you can see Jokic in the high post initially running a handoff for Cam Johnson. The ball is sent back to him on the nail to reset the possession, and while nothing really develops from the weak side, the cutting action from Brown forces Draymond Green to concede a little bit of space in the paint, and this split-second mistake gives Jokic already enough daylight to launch the high-arcing 18-foot jumper. This time in transition, you can see Jamal Murray feed the ball to a speeding Jokic right at half court. Watch how this 300-pound giant just goes from fast to slow as he launches the floater right on top of the high-flying Derrick Jones Jr. All in all, that elite touch already makes Jokic unstoppable as a scorer, which is crazy when he's also got the bulk and strength which allows him to bulldoze his way to the rim against any defender. And then there's also the fact that Jokic is continuously refining his stroke from the three-point line. He's currently shooting 40% from deep after already shooting 41% from 3 last season. And the beauty of this is that Jokic isn't just operating as a catch and shoot from the corner type of guy. Instead, he's deliberately trying to create open three-point looks for himself, using off-ball screens and split actions from teammates while utilizing the available space on the floor to get into his shot. Right here, Jokic is seemingly about to run an inverted pick and roll with Murray, but Murray doesn't pop out to the three-point line. Drew Eubanks makes the mistake of going under the screen, while Zach LaVine also reacts late and doesn't switch in time. This leaves Jokic with all the daylight he needs to drain the wide-open three-pointer. In this possession, as Jokic has the ball on the elbow, you can see Brown and Murray using some split action to create something. The confused defense forces Jokic's defender to switch on Brown, while Murray pulls two defenders inside the arc. This leaves Jokic as an easy passing outlet, and at this point, Bam Adebayo's just too deep in the paint to try and contest the wide-open three-point shot by Jokic. Add everything up, the touch, the size, the IQ, and you got a recipe for unprecedented scoring efficiency. This season, Nikola Jokic is shooting 64.1% from the field, which is the fifth highest field goal percentage in NBA history for any player to average at least 10 shots per game in a single season. Plus, Jokic's current 73.6 true shooting percentage also currently ranks second behind the all-time best true shooting mark produced by Robert Williams during the 2023 season. But then again, Jokic shoots three-pointers unlike Robert Williams. In addition, Jokic is also currently on track to set new all-time NBA best records in terms of win shares, Bucks plus-minus rating, as well as player efficiency rating or PER. This is how efficient the Joker's been so far this season. And there's also the fact that Jokic is also leading the league in both rebounds and assists per game, which is something nobody has ever done over the course of a single season. And it's such a luxury for Denver when they get both a rebound and an assist from Jokic on the same play. Here, you can see Jokic boxing out and chasing the rebound, and even with his back behind the play right there and then, he just makes the touchdown pass to Christian Brown on the other end of the floor for the easy fast break finish. Then here, after grabbing the rebound, Jokic just goes full point guard mode, just bringing the ball coast to coast while surveying the floor before dishing out the pass right on Jamal Murray's pocket on the fast break. Well, if Jokic keeps up this kind of all-around statistical production until the end of the year, he'll also be joining former teammate Russell Westbrook as the only players to average a triple-double in multiple NBA seasons. But then the crazy thing is, Jokic has been statistically dominant this year despite his touches, time of possession, and usage rate all being down compared to last season. Nonetheless, Jokic has been so productive because of how Coach Adelman has been using him in Denver's offense. The Nuggets are now frequently playing a delay type of spacing while using Jokic as an offensive hub high on the floor, either from the elbows or from the top of the key, instead of mostly deploying him at the low block. This actually helps Denver's offense thrive since stationing Jokic up on the floor typically lifts his defender away from the paint, which then creates all kinds of space for the Nuggets to score off split actions, handoffs, and backdoor cuts. And so far this season, Denver scores 14.5 points off cuts to the basket, which is the second most in the entire NBA. Right here, with Jokic operating at the top of the key, you can see Aaron Gordon setting a slight pin down on Brown's defender, allowing him a narrow cutting lane into the paint. Watch how Jokic takes advantage of this by dishing out the perfect entry pass as Christian Brown easily finishes off the cut. Again here, Jokic is at the top of the key with Gordon and Cam Johnson running a split action. Johnson seemingly approaches the ball, but then he jabs right into the cut. Jokic dishes out the perfectly timed bounce pass in the middle of two defenders, setting up Cam for the easy layup. Credit Denver's guards and wings for being able to utilize all that space to find cutting lanes to the basket, but most importantly, credit Nikola Jokic for his elite feel and his overall gravity on the floor, which just enables him to basically spoon-feed his teammates with some beautiful passes. For context, this season, out of the 15 assists that Jokic averages per 100 possessions, 8.8 have actually been assists to teammates shooting at the rim. The last player to average 8 rim assists per 100 was Russell Westbrook during his MVP season in 2017, but before that, the player who averaged the most rim assists per 100 was Steve Nash in back-to-back seasons from 07 to 08. But since then, no one else has come close to what Jokic is doing right now in terms of feeding teammates right at the basket. Overall, with Jokic in charge of Denver's screen, cut, and movement-heavy attack, the Nuggets have produced the second-best offense in the NBA this season, with Denver specifically scoring an obscene 131.3 points per 100 non-garbage time possessions when Nikola Jokic is on the floor, which is miles and miles above what the best offenses of all time have produced. And the crazy thing is, it feels like the Denver Nuggets haven't even totally been their best yet, as Christian Brown is still shooting just around 21% from 3, while Cam Johnson is also just at 21%. 29%. But I definitely expect those shooting numbers to go up as the season goes on because those guys will just continue getting a ton of quality open shots from Jokic because he's just gonna create those looks for them all year long. Bring multiple defenders in Jokic and he'll just be able to set up teammates with high percentage shots. Play him straight up and he'll just cook the defense, which will again force them to send help. And then Jokic will start finding teammates again and again and again. He just creates a vicious cycle which leaves opponents without any easy answers. There has just never been a player who could not just beat you but dominate you in as many ways as Jokic can, and most importantly, he makes his team better with it. Well, without the Joker on the floor, the Nuggets are being outscored by almost 10 points per 100 possessions, but it barely matters because when Jokic is on the floor, Denver's outscoring opponents by 23.1 points per 100, which is the best point differential by any player by far this season. This is real legendary stuff that Jokic has been doing so far, and I think if he wins his 4th MVP award by the end of the year, we might actually have to start talking about Jokic being possibly the greatest player of this modern era or even potentially ever. Well, I know that's going to sound dramatic, but it's not. Jokic might not match Michael Jordan or LeBron in terms of longevity, but then maybe he will because he's only 30 years old right now. But the point is, from a straight up, that's the most all-around skilled basketball player I've seen standpoint, it's just increasingly hard to argue against Jokic being part of the GOAT conversation. And the crazy thing is, he hasn't really shown signs that he's going to be slowing down anytime soon. This is just what happens when potentially the best player in the world who said he felt like he was playing the best basketball of his life 8 months ago is somehow finding more ways to elevate his game right now. But do you guys believe that Nikola Jokic should already be part of the NBA's GOAT conversation? Feel free to drop your thoughts in the comment section below, and again, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing as well. Again, this has been Real Balls, thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.